Hello and welcome to this video, an analysis of Act 4 Scene 1 of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Act 4 Scene 1 then is following a pretty common pattern that we've seen throughout the play in that we go back to the witches. This scene furthers the theme of deception and equivocation in the play. As we've seen throughout Macbeth, appearances versus reality is an important aspect of each of the characters. Many of the characters wear metaphorical masks and speak in half-truths, and none more so than the witches. At the beginning of the scene, the witches are putting all sorts of hideous ingredients into their cauldron. This is almost an echo of Macbeth's banquet, where everything fell apart and ended in ruin. Here the witches are preparing their very own special feast, which reflects the evil that has been committed so far in the play. Macbeth approaches the witches full of bravado and confidence, echoing Hecate's prophecy in Act 3, Scene 5, that Macbeth's overconfidence would bring his downfall. Shakespeare also uses another structural device here in this scene. Macbeth has come home looking for reassurance and comfort that what he has done will keep him on the throne, and the witches duly show him three apparitions, which Macbeth interprets in his own way. These apparitions, while seeming to comfort him, are actually entirely deceptive and symptomatic of how the witches speak in riddles and half-truths. The audience is shown a series of apparitions that are supposed to confirm one thing, but in fact can be interpreted as the complete opposite. And Shakespeare is flagging something that becomes crucial to the final outcome of the play. He is in a way signposting important details for his audience. So the first of the apparitions is the armed head, and literally foretells Macbeth's eventual decapitation at the hands of Macduff. Macbeth, however, appears to believe the head is representative of Macduff, and he seems thankful having seen it, obviously misunderstanding its true meaning. The second vision is of the bloody child, which is, in reality, Macduff. The advice given to Macbeth is that he should feel completely safe and secure because no one who hasn't been, quote, born of woman, end quote, can hurt him. The equivocation here is that the apparition is Macduff, and so clearly he's alive despite not being born of woman. Macbeth fails to see the deception here and reads into the prophecy that he has nothing to fear. The third vision is of Malcolm, Duncan's son, coming to Macbeth's castle carrying a branch from a tree. The advice here, again, is that Macbeth can't be harmed until Birnam Wood moves to Dunsinane. Obviously, believing that it's impossible for a forest to move, he feels even more secure following this prophecy. Essentially, Macbeth has come to the witches for reassurance. They've shown him a vision of the future, and he has read into it what he wants to see, so he goes away completely reassured. Before he leaves, however, the witches, on his orders, show him a final vision, and here he sees a line of 8 kings, who are all descendants of Banquo. And this leaves him in an awful state, considering it means no one descended from him will inherit the throne. It's very curious here that Macbeth sees this and yet still doesn't doubt the earlier prophecies. It's clear the witches are playing with him, yet in his state of mind he either doesn't seem to notice or doesn't care. The final part of this scene is crucial to the development of Macbeth's character. So far he's killed a number of people, but each murder, one could argue, had its purpose. Before killing Duncan and Banquo, he argued with himself, went through their good qualities, and ultimately decided that murder had to be done. Here, however, he decides on murder with no qualms or counsel. He says that from here on out, he won't hesitate. Once he's thought of an act, he'll carry it out. He says, quote, "From this moment, the very first things of my heart shall be the first things of my hand," end quote. He plots to murder Macduff's wife and children in a terrible act that almost dehumanises him in our eyes. It's difficult to have any sympathy for him or to see him as anything other than a monster at this point. And if you've been following this video series, you'll know that the sort of challenge all the way through is, do we like him or is he just a complete idiot? And our opinions are being moved at this point. If you found this video useful, please do give it a thumbs up and stay tuned to hear about the ebook from which this video is based.